Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I think we can give it 3 minutes max and then we'll start at 3:05. So I've shared a poll. Kindly just have a look at it and give us your opinion so that at least we'll know how to go about it. Okay, I think it's safe to begin. I've seen from the poll that has been submitted, I see most of the inquiries on the accounting feature. So no need to worry, we'll definitely cover that. From my screen, I believe you can see the discount code that has been illustrated there. So after the session, if you'd love to upgrade your account, please let me know. We'll be happy to assist you further. So for everyone who attended the webinar, they have a 50% discount. So just 1 minute, we begin the session. Okay, I think it's safe to begin. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. We'll be happy to address them. You can raise your hand or you can share a chat with us or under the Q&A section. We'll be happy to address them. So just to kick us off, I'll guide you through the signing up process. So there isn't that much information involved when it comes to signing up for the first time. You just need your first name, your last name, the username of preference, your email address that you'll be using to register, phone number, enter password and confirm your password. So once you've entered all this information and you've ticked this box, when you tap on register, it is going to send you verification code. So you need to verify either via email or via phone number. And then once you're done, the next thing is just to sign back into your account. So I think we'll start with that. Okay, so as you can see, we are at the summary page. And just to walk you through what FarmCloud does, it's a software platform. The main idea behind FarmCloud was to simplify record keeping, providing you an end-to-end platform from planting to harvesting up until when you sell your produce. So FarmCloud is used to assist on that rather than relying the old methods of Excel sheets, writing on paper. Others also rely on memory. You have an end-to-end platform to assist with all. So just to start us off, we usually begin with the farm asset section. And under farm asset is where we do most of the inventory. So that being you inform the system what is the structure that you have, what are you growing in that structure. The next thing we have fertilizers and agrochemicals. It's just you basically having the indicating the initial stock you have in your farm. So to start us off, let's begin with farm asset. Now this is the section where you add a farm element. Farm element, sorry, is the section you add the structures that you have in your farm. If it's a greenhouse, if it's a screen house, if it's a shade net, if it's an open field, this is the section to do so. So it's as easy as in this case, let's add, we can have a greenhouse. So we can name it greenhouse beans, metallic greenhouse. Let's have cucumbers. And then add. So it's as easy as that when it comes to adding a structure. So the next thing is to indicate in the system which crop are you growing. So you tap on the structure name. You select a plant. As you can see, you're getting two options. And one of these options is the seedling batch. And let's cover first plant information and then we'll cover seedling. So tap confirm. So select the plant. We can go with cucumber. The variety, we can go with that one. 100 projected output. So here we can go with, and then we add it. Okay, so we've added a plant. So let's work an instance for the new feature where if we were adding a seedling. So just to walk you through behind this feature. So other than the normal crop production, if by any chance you propagate seedlings and you'd love to keep a track record of what you're doing, so we've incorporated that feature. So let's proceed. So you select seedling batch, you confirm. So you'll have to enter a code. So if you have a code, that's fine. If you don't have a code, it's totally fine too. So we can go with that one. Seedling name, the variety. And then under seedlings, we have two options. Either you're propagating seedlings themselves, or you're actually doing it in trays, whereby you have seeds in various trays and they're being propagated. If you select seedlings, you'll have to enter the number of seedlings. You select the sowing date and you select the expected germination date. If you're using trays, you'll have to enter the number of trays, the number of seedlings per tray, sowing date, and expected germination date. So we can go with number of trays. Say we have 20 trays, and each tray I have 150 seedlings. Expected date for germination, we can say it will roughly take 2 weeks, and then we add. So that sums up when adding a normal plant and when adding a seed that you're propagating. So let's cover fertilizers and agrochemical, and then we'll give room for any questions. So under fertilizers and agrochemicals, as mentioned earlier, is the section where you indicate what amount of fertilizer or agrochemical do you have in your farm at the moment. So you tap on add a fertilizer, you select, then go with that one. You select your supplier. Quantity, you can say we have 80 kgs. Minimum quantity allowed, we can have it as 5. The minimum quantity allowed is to help you so that when your stock is about to run out, you will get notifications in order for you to restock. I'll show you how to do so. And then we add. So if by any chance when the available quantity is the same as the alert quantity, you usually get notifications from here. As you can see, I have a fertilizer that's quite low and I'm being asked to restock. So it's as easy as you tapping on the restock option, and then you fill in the required information. So yeah. So under fertilizers and agrochemicals, it's exactly the same thing. So the same step we've done for fertilizer are the exact same steps we'll get for agrochemical. So I think before we can proceed, maybe I can leave room for any questions before we head over to daily work reports. And at the same time, if there are no questions, I'll highly appreciate a thumbs up so that we can proceed. Okay, I think we can proceed now. So under daily work report, this is a section where you indicate every activity that's being done in the farm. So you'll do a record of all the activities you've done in your farm, from fertilizer application to scouting to irrigation, to pre-harvest to harvest, and any other report you might have. So we can begin with fertilizer report. You select the element, which is the structure. You select the variety. You select the stage that you're in. In our case, we'll just leave it as planting. You select the fertilizer name, date of application, time of application. Quantity available, as you can see, it's 80. So we apply 10. Method of application, go with drenching. So, and then there's option for notes. So if there's any notes that's applicable, you can go ahead and add the notes, and then you save the report. So for fertilizer, you can add as many reports as possible. So if you want to add any extra report, you'll just tap on add a report, and then a second section will appear, and so on and so on. So if you have as many reports as possible, you can add them all at the same time, and then you save that report. So maybe just to walk you through what it looks like if you are propagating your seeds. So let's select this one, a nursery. Actually, let's go with the one we had, greenhouse cucumber. As you can see, for propagation of seeds, the planting stages are a bit different compared to normal crop production. So in this case, you have sowing, germination, and maturity, because we are under the assumption those are the only steps that are needed in order for a seed to mature. So we have sowing, you select the fertilizer, you select the date applied, you select the time, quantity, we can go with, let's say 5, drenching, and then we can have it as fast application, and then you save. So that's it actually when it comes to either adding a normal plant for production or seeds for propagating. And then we have, so I've skipped agrochemicals, since agrochemicals and fertilizers are exactly the same thing. So what we've done for fertilizer is what you'll find for agrochemical. So I think we can proceed on to scouting reports. We select a farm element, which is greenhouse, a variety. You can see the stages are the same, so we can go with transplanting. Give a brief description. So was able to spot yellowing of leaves. And then you attach an image from what you had seen in the farm. You can attach an image. And then you can add any additional notes like agronomist to be informed. And then you add. So let's head over to manual irrigation. Okay, so for seed propagation under scouting, this is how it looks like. So it's sowing, germination, or maturity. Add a date, give a brief description of what's going on, upload an image of what you had seen in your nursery, and now attach any notes that might be applicable. Okay, so I'm seeing there's a question here. I can see there's a question here asking, what if I'm using organic fertilizers? So that's not a problem at all. As long as the organic fertilizer has a name, you'll just go to let me show you in that section. So you'll go to this section of fertilizers and agrochemical and add that specific organic fertilizer that you're dealing with, and then proceed with the same process that we're doing. I don't know if that answers your question. If you have a follow-up question, please feel free to send it to us. We're happy to respond. Okay, additionally, if the fertilizer is not available in the system, that's nothing to worry about. You just inform our admin. It takes us literally few minutes, and it will be added in the system for you. So that is not a problem at all. So once we've added in the system, you can proceed and add it in your account. If there's any questions you might have, please feel free to let us know. Okay, so proceeding with the manual irrigation. For this one, let's do same thing we've done. Select the plant variety. You select the element. You select the plant variety. For this one, we're doing for seed propagation. You select the irrigation date, the irrigation time, duration, quantity irrigated for. We can say we irrigated 50 liters. Method used, you can say sprinkling. So watered, seeds. and then you add that report. So if you're doing normal crop production, so you just stick to what exactly which variety or which structure that is. In our case, this is the one, and then you select the various what's it called, the planting stage that you're in, if it's vegetative, a time applied, duration, quantity of liters irrigated for, method used, and then add a brief description, depending on what was the case in your farm. So if you can head over to the pre-harvest report, and a pre-harvest report is to help you identify if there's any areas that need to be improved before you can consider yourself ready for harvest. So in this case, let's proceed with a normal crop production. We can go with flowering, actually fruiting. And then you have a checklist here. So you're supposed to check this list truthfully, just to see if you're ready for harvesting. And then you attach any notes that might be applicable to the current report that you're doing, and then you add it. So heading over to harvest report. Now harvest is the last stage of your planting. So same step we've been doing. Greenhouse cucumber. You select the variety, date of harvest, time of harvest, high quality. You have high quality, low quality, and harvest lost in harvest lost. It can be lost in transit. It can be lost due to theft, depending the situation. So we can say we had 200 kgs. Low quality harvest, can say we had 20, and harvest lost in transit, we had none. So we can indicate it as first harvest, cucumber. So as we did for fertilizers and agrochemical, for harvest report, you can add multiple reports as well. So if you've harvested consecutively and you want to record report, this will be a good opportunity. And also maybe let's say prior you had already started, but you are not aware about the platform. Just to have proper records, you can definitely add. And then you save the report. Maybe I can walk you through what it looks like if you are seed propagating. Harvest report for seed propagation. We have mature seedlings, immature seedlings, and harvest lost. Will answer depending on what you had selected initially. If you went to trees, it will come at the end trees. Yes, if you select seedlings, it will come at the end point. So you select mature trees. You can go with 20. Immature trees, you can go with 5, and then you add that report. Okay. So other than the reports we've illustrated there, we do have the other section to accommodate for any other report that's not highlighted in the platform. So if there's any other report you'd love to include, this is the section. So the only difference in this case is that you'll have to give that specific report a name. So you'll have to name it, depending on the case, if it's weeding, you have to give it a name, and then proceed with the same process you've been doing. You select a farm element, you select a plant variety, the date, to give a brief description. In this case, also you can also upload an image and attach any notes that might be applicable. Yeah, and then additionally, FarmCloud does assist with providing compliance. So if you do want to provide proof of what you've been doing from the beginning till the end, we do have a traceability report. You select the the structure, the variety you'd love to provide traceability, and then you select the various reports you want to share and export it, and I'll share with you. Before head and select. Questions that will be appreciated, and then we proceed to weather and satellite. Okay, so moving forward to weather and satellite. Okay, so moving to weather and satellite. So under this section of weather and satellite, first thing to note is that it's efficient on an open field setup and not an indoor setup like a greenhouse. So to get optimum results, we usually advocate for it to be used on an open field setup. And the main function for the weather and satellite feature is to give you real-time information on weather and satellite data. So weather gives you the weather forecast, and satellite helps you monitor how healthy your crops are doing with the help of various indices. So in order for you to begin this whole process, first you need to create a farm boundary. So just to walk you through quickly, when you tap on create a farm boundary, select your farm location. You select your farm location. So once you've selected your farm location, you'll proceed with drawing your farm boundary. Once you've plotted your farm boundary, you have to give it a name. You select an open field attached to that boundary, and then you create. So we'll just head over to existing boundaries that we have. Okay, as you can see here under weather information, you get temperature information, maximum, minimum, and precipitation levels. You also get the total area covered by the boundary you've plotted, and you also get soil data. At the top, 10 centimeters deep, and the soil moisture as well. And now under weather data, you get 3 forecasts. That is hourly, daily, and historical weather. With historical weather, you can backtrack up to 1 year. So you'll just filter out from which date to which date. And as for daily work report, it can give you forecast up to the next 5 days. So heading over to satellites. Satellite, as I mentioned, is used to monitor how healthy your crops are doing with the help of index. And we've attached descriptions for you and how to evaluate this information also on the platform, just to make it easy for you, because sometimes it can be a lot of information just to relying on you memorizing what each and every index stands for. So just to sum it up for you, we can categorize the indices into 2. One that monitors the greenness of the crops and how healthy they're doing, and 2, the ones that monitor the moisture levels, both in the soil and in the crop. So for the ones that monitor greenness and healthiness of the crop are usually NDVI, EVI, EVI2, and NRI. So in this case, the higher the value, the indication of a healthier crop, the lower the value, the indication of a stressed crop. So moving over to the next category, which are the indices that monitor moisture level, which is NDWI and DSWI. So NDWI, the higher the value, the indication of enough moisture content in the plant and in the soil. For DSWI, which stands for Drought Severity Water Index, just from the name itself, the higher the value, the indication of scarce moisture level in the soil. And the lower the value, the indication that there is enough moisture in the soil. So if you're on a paid package and you'd love to get an in-depth summary of all of the readings you're getting, we have the option for you to export your data. So you'll choose the specific NDVI, and then you'll be able to export those data. So that sums up the weather and satellite feature. Okay, I don't know if I'm audible. I just ran into some slight technical issues. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Okay, my apologies for that. So I think we can head over to the Farm Shield section. So Farm Shield is part of our product, and its main duty is to automate irrigation. Other than automating irrigation, it also monitors environmental conditions. So if you have that device and FarmCloud too, you can be able to view your device's reading on FarmCloud. So that's just basically it on Farm Shield. As you can see here, they are categorized into two, either shield data or sensor data. So under shield data, it will give you information on the moisture level, if the valve is open or closed, the amount of water that has been dispensed. So I don't know if I'm audible. It seems I keep losing, but I think I'm back. We can proceed. If there's any question when I'm presenting and you're having any challenges, let me know. Okay. So as I was saying, under sensor data, you'll be able to see the NPK sensor, the soil temperature. You also get to see the soil moisture, and then we have ambient data, which checks the humidity, temperature, CO2, and light intensity sensor. So from there, I think I'll leave it at that for any questions, and then we can invite my colleague Sam to take us through the accounting features. Okay, so feel free to let us know if you have any questions. We are happy to address them. Okay. Okay, I've seen some of you mention that you're not able to see my screen. Is everything okay now from the presentation I've done? Is all okay? Okay, so my sincere apologies for that. Okay, so regarding the question that has been asked, how many sensors is needed for the whole farm? So that's entirely dependent on the size of farm you have. But normally we usually advise that for every half an acre, one sensor will be enough. Each and every, so one device will fit fairly in an half an acre. So probably you can share with us further the size of land you have, and then we can have a side chat with our engineers on how we can do the customization of the sensors. Okay. If there are no further questions, I think I'll invite my colleague Sam to take us through the next session. Okay. So for 5 acres, if every half an acre will require one device. So for 5 an acre, just to be on the safe side, let's have it as 10 devices. But that's entirely dependent. If you're going with an indoor setup, it's going to be different compared to if it's an open field. So my illustration is on an open field setup. If it's an indoor setup, uh, one one greenhouse, one device is fine. So yes, I hope that answers your question. If you have any further questions, just feel free to ask. Okay. So regarding the other question that has been posted, if weather data accounts are for microclimate or it's general. So in this case, it's general. It's not for microclimate. Okay, so I think I'll invite okay, there's a question posted. But kindly let's give, for the purpose of time, let's give some an opportunity to present on the accounting. And then for all the pending questions, I know there's a question on traceability, and there's also another question on farm elements. They'll definitely be answered as we proceed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel, and welcome to our monthly webinar, where we're going to present. I'm going to present the accounting feature. So get ready. Give me 1 minute. Let me share my screen so we can start. Okay, for kindly let me get a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Then I can continue and introduce the accounting feature. Is there anyone who can't see my screen? I don't want anyone to be left behind. I want us to move all together so we have an understanding of how accounting feature works. Okay. So for accounting, we do have products and services. We also have income and expenses, and part of accounting, we also have buyers. I'll start with buyers, then we will move to products, then to income, and then to expenses. So for buyers, uh, these are the buyers whom you wish to make transaction with. Let's say you are selling uh, potatoes or potatoes. Uh, you come here and you record the buyer information. Then when you are creating an invoice, you invoice this particular buyer whom you have created here in the buyers list. So let me show you how to create a buyer. You press this button, add buyer. Then you have to fill in the details of that buyer. We have the currency. This currency is the currency that the buyer transacts with. I'll put Kenyan shilling. Then I'll say first name, last name. Company name is where if this buyer is acting on behalf of a company, so you'll be able to record the company name and also the email address of the buyer, then the phone number. Then you'll have to have optional field, which are fax and website. These are optional. You can fill them if you have fax information for that buyer, and also if that buyer has a website. Then we have billing address. This is where we'll be billing our invoices to for this buyer. We have street address 1 and street address 2. We also have the country for that buyer and the city, and also the postal code. Below postal code, you can see we have a checkbox which reads shipping same as billing address. This means uh, if shipping is the same as billing address, that is shipping address is the same as billing address, you check this box. But if shipping address is not the same as billing address, you uncheck this box. Shipping address is where we ship the products to. Then you can be able to fill in at the different shipping address street at this one and also the country. Also, we have let me check this box. Then let me select this one. So this is an example of an address. Make sure you record the correct address. Then you have then record. Then for notes and attachments, these are notes or any information which you wish to record for a given buyer, and attachments are any accompanying documents for that buyer, maybe identification documents or any certificates that that buyer might have. And also we have payment terms. Terms is in terms of invoice period and also the payment method. Invoice period is after you issued the invoice to that buyer. After how many days do you wish to be given the settlement money? And also for payment method is where you want your money to be transferred to, or through which method you want your money to be transferred to. Then you have cash and bank transfer and M-Pesa, you can say M-Pesa. Then you have invoice period, you can say 10. See, this invoice period is in terms of number of days. Then you can add our buyer. I already have a buyer. New buyer. You see, it's a very simple step, and all the records are maintained in the system. Say for those people who have a high subscription, if you are downgraded and you go back to the subscription you are, you'll still find your records in here. Rating and also say investment. Then after you have recorded your buyer, you can see that the name of the buyer record appears as the first entry. You see this buyer's currency is cash, and also the buyer doesn't have any pending balance. And now there's if you wish to archive the buyer, delete the buyer, edit the buyer information, and also those actions uh, are directed by the nature of transaction you have with your buyer. Say if you are transacting with a buyer for potatoes and now it's not potato season, you can archive the buyer and now you'll be able to unarchive the buyer from the archive list when the product which is in season is back in season. Now after buyers, we do have accounting, and now let's go to product and services. As you can remember, Stacy showed you how to record a harvest report. Now, when you record a harvest report and you finalize it, the product which you have recorded in the report will be automatically transited to products and services so that you can be able to create invoices for and also sell to buyers. So here we also have a manual addition for the products which you do not grow in your farm, and also if you do provide services on your farm other than the products that you grow. So here you add our products. I'll show you how to add a products. You select the product name. So then product type, if it is from asset, from service, or from product. From product is what you grow in your product, the ones that have been recorded in the harvest report, and now they have been transited um, to these products and services, or any other product, whether if you don't grow it but you wish to sell it. Also from services, and they're not tangible goods, and also now from assets are assets which are utilized in the farm. Then you can say unit of measurement, you say pieces, then you have a description, you say um, then after you've added your product manually, you see that the product appears in the first row. It is the latest product that you recorded, and it has a unique product code which you'll be able to reference to when you create invoices. And also, as well, there's action that you can take on this product which you've created. We have edit, archive, and delete the product. If you wish to delete the product and do away with it, if you wish to backup the product or edit the product information. Now, once you have your product, um, I'll show you how to create invoices and also receipt payment. But if there is any question regarding products and services and buyers, kindly let me know. You can type the question and I'll be able to answer so that we can continue. But if there's no question, let me get a thumbs up so that you can proceed with income and also expenses and farm stuff. Then you can round off. All right. If there is no more question, let me proceed. Then now we have income. Income is the money that you wish to receive or you have received in your farm based on what you have sold. That is maybe from asset, from product, or from service. And income is recorded in terms of invoices. As you can see, I already have some invoices existing in my farm, and the buyer, one of the buyer whom we created or the buyer recorded in my farm is listed as part of the invoice, and you can see the invoice number as well, the due date of the invoice, the amount for that invoice, and if the amount paid for the invoice and the remaining amount, and also the status. Status is if the invoice has been paid, if the invoice is overdue, if the invoice is partially paid, if the invoice is voided. Then for actions, we do have actions as well. We can choose to view an invoice, void an invoice, and also delete an invoice. When you void an invoice which had received payments, all the payments are recorded in your system and they are removed from the invoice. And when you delete an invoice, the same thing happens. Then here, let me show you how to add an invoice so that I can now receive payments and then we see the payments recorded in our payments table. So after you have pressed the add invoice button, you'll be provided with this interface where you'll be able to record the invoice number. The invoice number is automatically generated for you once you don't fill it in manually. I'll leave it blank. Then the date issued. This is the date you are issuing the invoice. The due date is when you wish the invoice to be settled. That is, you wish you to receive the amount from the buyer. You can say it's 7. And then billing information, we have to select a buyer. Remember the buyer whom we created. Now that same buyer is the one we're going to bill here. Then you can select a buyer. The buyer are listed with the company name. Now, if the buyer doesn't have a company name, you can fill in the first name and the last name of the buyer. But if the buyer has a company name, it will be visible to the buyer's page. And now, when you select a buyer, this name is the company name, and also the first name and also the last name. So I'll select this. Let me select another one. Let me say, and then here we have custom billing and shipping address. So for custom billing and shipping address, if remember when you were recording our buyer information, we filled a billing address, and we had another checkbox that asked if the shipping address is the same as billing address. Now this checkbox asks if the billing address is different from the shipping address. If it is different, now you have to uh, fill in the billing address and also the shipping address. But if it is not different, we'll leave it as it is. And then for invoice items, now this is where you record your products. The ones that you invoice, you invoice the buyer. Then we can say speeds for hire. Let's say like 100. Then unit price of for one, you say it's also 100. Then if this product you are invoice is subject to tax, you have to record the appropriate tax for that product. We have left this for the buyers for the farmers to fill in the tax themselves so that you can be able to accurately record the appropriate tax. Now I'll say for demonstration purposes, I'll say VAT, that is value added tax of 16%. And then the amount, this amount is total amount, where it's quantity times unit price. And also if you wish to record another product, you have a button below products that reads add another product, you press it, and you'll be able to fill another product. But if you don't have another product to into the invoice, You will cancel. Now you can proceed. So you have payment details. Payment details is mobile money. And then here you can be able to add your payment method. So for payment method, you do have cash, mobile money, bank transfer, and check. So it is upon you as a farmer to record the payment method which you wish to transact with. And once you record the payment method, you can save the payment method for future use, whereby once you record the payment, you don't have to record it a second time. You can toggle this button to save the payment method. So when you come to create an invoice next time, it is already there in the system and you just have to select it. Then we have a payment method that I have saved. Now we select that one, and then the notes, let's say from 100 squares. Then on this subtotal section, you see we have discount. Discount is if you wish to give the buyer a discount, whether percentage or cash. I'll choose no discount. Then if the buyer wants to be shift the product to where they are, you can include a shipping fee. Or if you do not charge shipping fee, it's still okay. You can leave it at that. And then for here we have our tax breakdown, where you can see we have the tax that you added here. If you add more products and more taxes, we'll be able to see them here. And then the total amount, which is the summation of the amount for our product and also the taxes. Then you can be able to see our invoice. Now, once you save our invoice, you'll see that it is the first record here, and you can be able to view the invoice. Now, once you view the invoice, you see the date issued, the due date, whom we have billed the invoice to, and also the appropriate addresses and contact details, and the items. Everything that you recorded is now here. And then here you can choose to download or close. Download is if you wish to provide a physical record of the invoice to the buyer. Then you close. Then you can be able to also edit the invoice, void the invoice, or delete the invoice. As you can see, we have created an invoice, and our status is issued. So for when you receive an payment for an invoice, you see this status transition to the paid status or the partially paid status, depending on the amount that has been paid by the buyer. Partially paid is when this invoice amount we have 11,600. Now, if the buyer pays say half, like 5,000, we see the status of the invoice transition to partially paid. Now let me show you how to receive a payment for an invoice. Then you press this receive payment button, which is next to an invoice. And here you come here and you select the buyer, uh, mobile money. The receipt date is today. The total amount that you have received from the buyer will say 1,000. Then you select the invoice where you wish to apply this amount which you have received to. So we select this invoice. In our case, we only had one invoice. Then proceed and enter the amount like that. And then this number again you can leave it so that it can be automatically generated for you. And then the notes say special payment receipt. Attachment is if you wish to record any documents that you wish to identify the payment you're with, like let's say a receipt or a check, anything, you can attach it here. And then now you can save. As you can see, we paid 1,000 and our invoice amount was 11,600. And now the remaining amount is 10,600. Now the status has transitioned to partially paid. Then if we come here and see the payments, we'll be able to see that our buyer and the payment date and the amount, the payment method is open money, which was M-Pesa. And without those few steps, we'll be able to record a buyer, add an invoice for that buyer for our products, and also receive payments. Here we have a summary that shows the number of invoices this month, uh, the number of outstanding invoices, and also the number of overdue invoices. If there is a question on income, that is invoices and how to receive payment, or if you wish to have any clarification, let me know so I can answer them and we can proceed to expenses. Then we can end our webinar. Let me know if you have any question. Right. So if there is no question, now let's proceed to expenses. For expenses, we do have two types of expenses. We have element specific expenses and general expenses. For element specific, these are expenses that you have incurred in a farm element. Remember, CC demonstrated how to create a farm element that is either a greenhouse, a screenhouse, deluxe, and also the other one is general. General is the expense is not tied to any farm element. So let me show you how to create an element specific and also a general. It's very easy, simple. We have a general expense. This expense, you have to select it. Then say next, a category of expense, you can say land, the date incurred, say cost, the payment method. You can also choose a supporting document like a receipt, check, anything. And then can add description, you can say. You see, it's very easy. Now, for general and element specific expense, see here we do have expense summary. You have to approve this expense. You as a farm owner, if your farm worker has created an expense, you have to approve so that it is counted as part of a total expense and also in the right category. So here we can approve this and you'll see that our amount here will increase. So we can approve. And you have seen our total expense has increased and also general expenses have increased. For element specific expense, it's the same thing. You come to select element specific, next, and then the category, you say farm agrochemicals, farm element, say, then nut variety, supplier, and cost, payment method again. So it's very simple. See, chemicals. Remember to approve the expense so they can be counted as an expense, or if you do not authorize that expense, you can reject that expense. Now you can be able to edit or even delete that expense. if you no longer wish to have it in your farm. And also let's upload this one. So you can see that the element expense has been from element expense and recorded successfully. Now, if you wish to see the information, detailed information for that given expense, you click the first field, which is category of the expense, that is farm agrochemical. Then you'll be able to see, and you can reject, edit again. Now you disclose. And with that, we have come to the end of our accounting feature, whereby we've talked about products and services. That products they are those which you grow in your farm. Once you record a harvest report, they are automatically recorded as part of the products. And also, we do have products which you do not grow in your farm, and also services that you offer. Then, for those products and services which you have, you'll be able to create invoices for them and bill specific buyers whom you have recorded in your system. And then afterwards, you bill the invoices and be able to accept payments. And also for those payments and invoices, you'll be able to see them consolidated in one place. And now for expenses, we do have two types, which is general and element specific expenses. And for element specific is expenses specific to a given farm element, whether a greenhouse, open field, sheep meat, and also for general expenses which are not tied to any farm element. Now, let me show you the last part, which is farm staff. So farm staff allows you to invite people into your farm to work on your behalf. We have three different types of farm staff. You can invite someone as a farm worker or farm manager, while you yourself, who owns this FarmCloud account, is a farm owner. If you want to invite a user, you press this button, and then you write their email addresses and select the role, whether a farm worker or a farm manager. Once you send the invite, they'll be able to see the invite in their email and set up an account in your farm. And with that, we have come to the end of our presentation. If you have any question, let me know so that I can answer them. And also Stacy can answer your question so that you can have a productive farm and utilize FarmCloud effectively. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sam, for that elaborate presentation. I think it's room for any questions. Yeah, please feel free to let us know. If there's no questions, if there's anything you'd love to say, feedback about the platform, you're open to let us know. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. If all is well on your end, kindly a thumbs up will be highly appreciated. Okay. So on our end is just to appreciate everyone who purposed to join the webinar, and we appreciate the engagement during the meeting. So as stated earlier, if you're a registrant for the webinar, you have access to 50% to upgrade to a paid account. So if that will be of interest, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, we thank you so much, and I hope everyone will have an amazing weekend till we meet next month. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day.